floor to Sylvain Chéry, co-founder and director of Agile Partner. Thank you, Sylvain, it's yours.
Thank you, Marina. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today. I'd like to talk about how can teams experiment to innovate smarter. So I'm Sylvain Chéry, co-founder and director of Agile Partner. We're a company based here in Luxembourg, founded in 2004, and our team of 50 people help our clients navigate their digital transformation. So we do it in two ways. We develop digital products on the one hand, and on the other hand, we help them. We act as an agile change catalyst. So we work with teams and organizations to help them become more agile. So yeah, I think your businesses, just like mine, we are all part of an ecosystem, a bigger ecosystem, the market, and in this ecosystem, we all strive to survive and grow. So just like living systems, we need to innovate to achieve that. The problem is, you know, whether you want to adapt to a change in the environment, or whether you want to create and lead the change. It's really difficult to predict the results of your innovation efforts. It's like an unpredictable process. So what our businesses should do is really rather build capabilities inside our companies to experiment and learn what works for ourselves and what doesn't, simply. So today I'd like to share with you 5 ingredients of innovation that my colleagues and I have observed repeatedly in different various companies we have worked with in Luxembourg and abroad. So the first ingredient is to build creative delivery teams. So innovation emerged eventually from people who interact, share their knowledge, their energy, their skills and networks. So namely teams. And to deliver the products that we want to innovate, these teams need specific characteristics. So first, they need many different skills. So we need cross-functional teams with different areas of expertise in various domains. Then we need creativity, and this creativity comes from also a variety of profiles in the team. So people who like to be experts in their area, people who like to think out of the box, people who like to connect others, connect ideas and people from different areas. A team, to be a team, also needs to collaborate. So the collaborative spirit is really important inside the team, but also between the team and the rest of the organization, and even beyond the boundaries of the organization. Finally, what we see key is also that a team has a clear purpose. What is the problem you want them to solve? What challenges do you want them to solve? A good example is this team for me from 3M, this famous innovative company. They had a clear purpose, clear mission. They wanted to reduce the waste in shipping due to the use of classical cardboard boxes. So thanks to their diversity of background and profile from finance, marketing, product management, logistics, they collaborated together and with the rest of 3M and even partners to create the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll, which was eventually selected by Time as one of the 100 innovations, best innovations of last year. So the second ingredient is to enable your teams to leverage new technologies. So they should be able to select the tools and technologies that are right for them. I emphasize the importance of leveraging digital technologies, because thanks to these digital technologies, we can extend our human capabilities. One company I've worked with during the Fit for Start program of Luxinnovation last year is Raffinex. So this startup is really interesting. They leverage the cloud computing to create a platform where they share simulation algorithms, and this enables mechanical engineers to upload their digital twin of their mechanical parts and test them with advanced simulation. So for the fraction of the cost and the time of traditional simulation systems, they can improve their design and iterate much faster, creating sort of an agile engineering process. The third ingredient is to include the customer in the team. So not only work for the customer, but really include the customer in the team. It's really key to understand the actual needs, the true needs of the customer. It's also important to create more options, to generate more ideas about solutions, and finally to select the best solution for the customers. One extreme example of that process is F-Devices. Initially a crowd-funded project. They also crowdsourced the design of their computer. So they work with almost 1,500 people, customers, to design their laptop. The fourth ingredient is to empower your teams to explore unknown territories, so to try new things. So this requires some autonomy for the teams, and also trust, because exploring new areas, of course, implies that there will be some failures. There will be some trials and errors. As long as the teams are learning from those failures, it should not be a big issue. And we see too many companies where it's not allowed to fail, which is really a pity. One I think iconic example is SpaceX with their program to recover and reuse the first stage of their rockets. Initially, they started testing parachutes, and finally, they switched to a new approach, really with this vertical landing system. So to minimize the risks associated with these failures, it's important to iterate, and that's the fifth ingredient. So iterate, meaning small steps, small iterations to try and test the ideas and the solutions. The message here is that iterations should be seen as experiments. And this also means that you don't have to wait until you consider the product finished or perfect to go to the market and expose your solution, your product, and get feedback. So the shorter the iteration, the faster you get feedback, and you can improve the solution. So that's also what's behind the lean startup approach that many of you certainly know, with this build, measure, learn process, and which is basically continuous improvement approach. A good example of that iterative process is what Apple did with their iPhones, but even more than the different models of their device, I think the software updates is even more interesting, because they do a lot of updates for the past few versions of the device. Every device gets at least 7 major updates, which bring not only bug fixes, but a lot of improvements, new features. It's quite known that the first version of iPhone didn't have basic features like copy paste, but they keep improving the product all the time. For the conclusion, so just to recap, to be innovative, what we have seen is that organization must create flexible organization structures with creative delivery teams that leverage new technologies and collaborate very closely with the customers. Those teams must be empowered and use an iterative experimental process. My last word would be also that the way you combine and implement those 5 ingredients of agility depends on your corporate culture, and that's very unique to every company. So even if you get inspired by others, including some of the examples we'll see today, it's important that you create your own blend, and that's really something that is difficult to copy for other companies. So that's your real differentiator in the end, how you manage that. Thank you. So now time for Q&A.
Yes, thank you, Sylvain. So I have a question actually to you. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. You showed how it is very important indeed that the experimentation will enable team to innovate smarter. But also, what would be the direct impact between agile teams and experimentation? How the agile teams indeed really will make it happen? Is there any recommendation based on your experience would really share with us on that perspective?
So the mindset of an agile team is that they don't take for granted anything. So they try and identify and formalize all the assumptions that they make, and these assumptions then can be the basis of experiments. So to craft various experiments, or let's say one experiment, the team identifies first an assumption they want to validate, and then they design an experiment, the lightest one possible, to test that assumption. And this is this cycle that makes the fast learning possible.
Okay, so I don't have any other question. Anyhow, maybe we can then take the time to start. But before going to our next speaker, so if you still have questions, please, you can always send it to us by email, and then we can share it with the speakers. And also, if you have a question, that you push into the tool and we don't have time to answer, we still also have the possibility to answer your question offline and after the webinar. Floor to Sylvain Chéry, co-founder and director of Agile Partner. Thank you.